And we're live.
All right. Happy Friday, Minders. Welcome to my second ever live, my third ever live. I am so excited because it's not just me today. I convinced some of our friends to hop on and share their wisdom with us. So please welcome Jake from this guy, Jake from Clever Leads, and the one and only Greg McDaniel, who I know you've seen before chatting. You're Brad's older or younger brother?
I am his older brother by 2 years. So
Okay.
I'm 42. That means he's 40, and my sister's 38, which is so scary to understand those numbers. But I am so thrilled to be here. I have my dear good friend, Mr. Jake Wolf, my business partner as well in different ventures. And Kim, you are an amazing host, and we're blessed to be here with you today.
Oh, well, I mean, please continue with that attitude throughout this conversation because I'm fine with it. All right, so I'm going to let them take over very shortly because they are so much better at this than I am. But I wanted to talk to you guys today. We've gotten a lot of inbound questioning, marketing best practices. How can we see conversion rates? What are some of our successful clients doing? And one of the things I hear the most is while we all love our direct mail campaigns, they're expensive. And sometimes the cost of that in combination with the cost of data is a big chunk of a marketing budget. And I know that you guys both have seen massive success using all kinds of other channels, in particular text messaging. We would definitely want to talk about that. So I would just love if you guys could share what works. Like, what are you seeing the highest conversion rates with, the highest response rates with, and what are some maybe more inexpensive alternatives to our best friend, the postcard?
Jake, I'm deferring to you, my friend. Let's talk about text, brother.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jake Wolf. I'm the CEO of Clever Leads, and I intentionally built this mechanism so that every single communication bridge to your prospective customer is actually handled. And there's always ways to systematically handle data sets and go connect to people, but it's about consistency, right? So if you guys are struggling with your one shot over the bow postcard and then coming back saying, oh, that doesn't work, it's not that it doesn't, it's probably your fault. So let's talk about different things here. When we receive likely artificial intelligence data, we don't just send a postcard. We send out an email to a landing page to go ahead and see if somebody's going to enter in an address capture. And then we take those people as more condensed folks. We'll go ahead and start focusing with our virtual assistants. We'll make sure that we text them with our proven scripts that get huge open rates. We go ahead and send emails out to these folks. We send the virtual assistants out to call on behalf of the real estate agents. We do addressable geofencing. We do all of these things in unison in a systematic approach. But today we're talking about text because it is so darn powerful, and it's one of the ways that we like to lead. So let's talk about text for a quick second. How many times a day do you rather text somebody than actually pick up the phone and call? And I know every single one of you that are looking at this are going, yeah.
Every single time I have to talk to somebody.
we have now, because of these wonderful tracking devices and smartphones, have now gotten to a point in life where we're texting the hell out of everybody. Sometimes you get like a hybrid person like Greg McDaniel. He loves audio text. But other than that, I mean, we are in a text kind of a world. We are in a social world, a text world. So we know what happens. As soon as you get a text, you get a ding. And then all of a sudden, even if you don't even open it up, you still see the relevant information on that text coming up on the home screen. So why are we not using it? Right? So the process that we've really developed, and we've sent out millions and millions of text messages. Greg has been one of the pioneers of really proving the scripts perfectly, taking the likely artificial intelligence data, finding that sweet spot, and how we go into it. And most people are always trying to figure out what is the best script for a cold call. Well, we've kind of modeled the perfect introduction from a text message standpoint. So what are we dealing with right now? We're dealing with post-pandemic coming into some of this other variant type stuff. We've got different government regulations in different areas hold down or letting people loose. And but we've came through a massive increase in equitable position in homes. People are starting to move for their own personal reasons, whether it's business, whether it's politics, whether it's because they just don't like that area anymore, or because COVID has changed the way that they actually perceive their home. Because when the pandemic hit, now all of a sudden, bam, you're at home. So are the kiddos, so are the dogs, so is mama, everybody else, and everybody's working, and they're going, oh my gosh, if this ever goes down again, we might need to go ahead and reevaluate our house. And you might be dealing with somebody who is working for an employer that doesn't want the workforce to go ahead and come back anymore. So there's a lot of contributing factors to why people are moving right now. So with that being said, it's very important to go ahead and get in. Via text is so darn powerful, and we figured out the perfect way to do it. Example, Greg's virtual assistant takes likely artificial intelligence data. She'll intentionally say, hi, this is Karen, Mr. Greg McDaniel's personal assistant at eXp Realty here in Walnut Creek. He asked me to reach out with a smiley face. Second text message that goes out, pre-automated, just sitting there ready to go. I don't mean to intrude. This phone number was associated to this address. Are you the homeowner by chance? Question mark. Probing question to go ahead and get some type of response. And then we let that hang out there. What have we done? We've used text message to get direct to consumer. We've introduced ourselves completely, told them who we are and who we're with. He asked me to reach out. I don't mean to intrude. We're not being intrusive. And we also utilize the power of a smile. Okay.
Never underestimate the power of an emoji.
Right. So now all of a sudden, we're sitting inside the SMS inbox like a live trading floor, and we're literally waiting for those people. Yes, I am. What can I help you with? Because they're curious, like, what's going on here? Now we roll into the cause of why we're connecting. Greg was recently by that neighborhood. We've seen some high buyer demand there lately. He asked me to reach out to a few of the homeowners in your area. We were just curious if you had any plans of possibly making a move in 21 or would be open to a good offer on your property. So, and then you get a whole bunch of different responses and stuff like that. People get curious now. Don't ever underestimate that people aren't sitting there at home having a steak and a bottle of wine going, man, I think we've got a lot of equity in our house. Maybe we should sell. Maybe we should take our equity, but where are we moving? But we get a lot of responses. Well, what would that offer be?
Yeah.
Literally in that moment, we're saying, you know what? I'm going to have Greg get in touch with you. He's awesome. Everybody that I know loves him. Who am I speaking with so I can let him know and what's the best time for him to connect? And it works, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it's so important to go direct to consumer as soon as possible, especially if you have a powerful predictive analytics set like Likely Artificial Intelligence. Mr. Brad McDaniel and his old team at Likely has spent years studying ways to go ahead and give you an edge. All right. So sending a postcard saying, hi, I'm the best realtor ever. It's probably not going to work, regardless if there's a predictive analytics set or not. Most people are always thinking about what's in it for me. And it comes back to financial conveniences and then the personal conveniences. So some of your biggest competitors of Wall Street are literally pushing millions of dollars, and they're in the houses talking to these people saying, hey, instant offer on your home, buy before you sell. They're doing it. So if you don't actually invest into your marketing initiatives and get aggressive with it and utilize all forms of different media in a systematic approach, you're going to end up being part of the 80%. Or your revenue is not going to be enough as you want it to be. So that's my little short rant. I guess I want to.
That was fantastic. We can end it here. Bye, Greg.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. That's so awesome. Jake, you're amazing. You're a rock star. I love this.
Well, what I noticed first, like the first thing that stood out to me when you're talking about just the structuring of the text message is one, like there's so much less work required for the recipient to give you a response. So that initial response rate is going to be quicker and higher immediately, other than a postcard, which I'm a millennial. I check my mail once a month. Like but my phone is attached to my hip. So that right there would be a benefit, I would think, immediately. It's easier, and the chance of you getting a response is going to be significantly higher because it's super easy to just hit send on a phone.
For sure.
Well, it is. Postcards were very effective in the past. and they still are effective in certain realms around the country where technology might not be up to where we are in San Francisco and other parts of the country. The one thing about text messages, 98% of the time, people are going to respond to a text. Postcards have a less than a 3%, shelf life. I mean, I watched my girlfriend. I can't find one around me right now. Wish I had one. Let's just say this is one right here. This comes in the mail. It's in the garbage in a half a second because why? It's not relevant. And also, there's been NAR studies stating that the fact that when you get a real estate agent's face on a postcard, they've on a subconscious basis view it as an invasion into their private area, their castle, their space, their private domain, because you're not invited. You're demanding to come in. A text message is something that we're preconceived to just not. We can't stop ourselves from looking at a text message. But if it's something that we want, then there's a reason why we're going to respond. When I bought my I have a Jeep SRT8, which is like a beast of a Jeep, like thing eats pavement for a living. And when I was buying my Jeep in 2017, if my car broker had texted me at 7 a.m. going, "Hey, I have a new Jeep for you, like come down and check it out at 8 a.m." I would have picked that thing up, put pants on, and out the door I would have gone. But if it was a postcard, I wouldn't have responded that way because it's not conducive to my lifestyle, because it's going to be behind where I am. Mm-hmm. When it comes to text messaging versus emails and postcards, text. I mean, Jake and I did a funny experiment one day. This was a couple of years ago, and Jake's smiling. If you guys can't see this, if you're just listening, he is a Friday afternoon, and he's like, "Hey, Greg, do you want to go put bullets down range?" Because he's an ex-military guy, and I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Do you want to get leads?" I'm like, "Yes, I want to get leads." And so we loaded 128 messages into his messenger campaign. We put them down range, right? Within seconds, I was in conversation with over 60% of the people that we put messages out to. And I picked up a $1.8 million listing based upon the messaging that we originally went out, like Jake talked about a second ago, and then the landing page and the website, and then the follow-up. And so I still have never met my seller for the $1.8 million listing. Never met her. But you know what? It came purely because of a text. And that's the power of this. We are conditioned, because we're all goldfish. Every one of us. I'm sorry. When you see a text come in, you're like, "Oh my gosh, a text." Click, watch it, listen to it, whatever else. And then you want to respond to it, but you're looking at it still. So Jake, if people were to take texting using Likely.ai's content, right? So we go into their database like you did with mine, and how would you formulate the response for them so they don't have to do it themselves? Because a lot of folks are afraid of doing video, afraid of responding. How would that look for you?
Yeah. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go ahead and say that we're extremely proud over here at Clever Leads to go ahead and be the first commercial integration into Likely artificial intelligence. Our development teams are working together so that your data seamlessly loads into our powerful marketing CRMs. If you have virtual assistants working inside of those accounts, they can immediately start going after it with all of these different forms of communication. If you're doing any type of advertising and getting address captures, we will be able to, with one click of a button, do skip tracing and reverse appends on any of these leads from different styles of marketing and things like that. So we're really looking forward to it. I just want to give a huge shout out to Likely, because when I first met Brad, he was at Gary Keller's Future RE conference. And for me, as an advanced marketer doing this for so many years, the power of predictive analytics, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that it is a valuable tool. If there are indicators that you know of that tend to lean towards these people are thinking about selling, you need to do everything you can to go ahead and get there multiple times, because these consumers need multiple touch points before they decide to go ahead and do business with you, before your competitor does. All right. So a lot of times You can get to them multiple times, but you have to think about what is the offer that you're putting out there. Once again, those sellers, and think about the moments of selling. You're always thinking about, how can I save the most money? What's the best convenience for me? How can I move in the least resistance kind of a scenario? So you have to think about those psychological events. And if you don't have a unique offer or a hook or anything else like that, you should start thinking about getting one. Start figuring out what makes you different from your competitor, because everybody else that's in competition with you, regardless, is trying to say something, right?
Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about your value add. I mean, Jake, in regards to kind of how you help build what I'm building, and you and I are going to talk offline on this a little bit more, but I mean, you are a master marketer, and a lot of folks I listen to on a daily basis, they literally, and this is, I'm not hitting on anybody in a negative way, they just don't know where to start. So give me a baseline where someone could start. So, you know, Kim and Brad over at Likely, you know, they're getting the content and the data over to other folks. Now you're the dog that's catching the car when you chase a car. What would be that first piece of content that you would put out on a text that would allow someone to be engaging with you on a micro basis and then into a macro basis?
So one thing is for sure, ladies and gentlemen, there's a successful way to do marketing, especially online, and there's a very unsuccessful way to go ahead and do it. So you have to understand the customer journey. Advanced marketers think about, what are the things that I'm going to do to acquire attention from an audience? Mm-hmm. And then what are the things that I'm going to put in action to go ahead and get people closer to a conversion, whether that means becoming my customer or entering their contact information online. And after that conversion happens, what are the things that I do to stay consistent and put my brand in front of these people all the time, so that I'm top of mind, I'm referable, I get these people coming back if they ever need me in business. All right. So acquisition, conversion, retention. Now, all of the data sets that you guys are getting from Likely Artificial Intelligence, powerful data. Now, what do I do with it? Okay. So all of these different avenues of ways to communicate to the consumer need to be utilized. All right. Now, I want to express the very important component of converting people from what I consider old school communication to an online infrastructure that you can control your brand in front of these people all the time, anytime you want, with paid advertising and remarketing. Now, if people don't know what a pixel is, if people don't know what retargeting is, all right, if you ever go to, let's say, sportsstore.com and you're looking at tennis balls, and then all of a sudden you end up going back over to Facebook because you're looking to see, you know, if grandma made any fresh cookies, right? Then you start seeing advertisements of sportsstore.com, tennis balls, tennis rackets, and their competitors. Okay. So those are tracking scripts inside of Facebook's ecosystem that were loaded onto that website specifically. Now you got built into a retargeting audience, and the people from that store and also those competitors are serving advertisements to you because you just got into their introspective audience, interest-based audience. Okay. So when acquisition happens online, it's from an advanced tracking website laid and laced with the right tracking scripts, multiple scripts, so that you can utilize geofencing, OTT advertising, social advertising, and things like that. So
hold on. You went over so many things right there, Jake. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but OTT, you know, geofencing, do we want to break those down really quickly so that people understand that? Because it took, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I laugh all the time. Jake has taught me so much about marketing. And when he first started talking to me, I was lost for 6 months, literally listening to him like, what in the blank did you just tell me? But OTT marketing is something that I think everybody should learn about, and especially geofencing. So let's dive deep on that really quickly, because I know you want to go deeper on other stuff. But
let me come right back to where I'm going with my point. All right. So here's the point, ladies and gentlemen.
My bad.
Let me pose a question to the audience. If somebody touches your website, would you like to be able to control advertising of your brand back to those people onto their smart devices so that they see your brand? all the time? The answer is yes. Okay. So from text message, what we love to do now over here at Clever Leads, we have advanced tracking scripts, websites that we set up for everybody. Ultimately, acquisition of customer happens when they touch the website. And it's what I consider our unknown database. There are two databases, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it all into the brain. There are the ones that we know. Those are the people that are inside of our marketing CRMs that says John Smith, he lives at this address, this is his email, and that's supposedly his cell phone number. Then there's this other group of people that you control data sets on. You don't know who they are yet. However, they've came into your digital online ecosystem, and now you are controlling all of your consumable educational content, brand, and everything else. And it's going in front of them, just like every other business person is doing to you right now. All of those sponsored ads, everything else that you're seeing on Facebook, different social media accounts, things like that. Or if you're talking out loud these days about something, ladies and gentlemen, next thing you know, you're seeing those ads on websites and seeing commercials of the stuff, and you're going, how in the world did that happen? Okay, so what we like to do via text, there's two thought processes here. When we go direct to consumer on a fresh, likely artificial intelligence audience, we literally are trying to find people right now that have intent. Okay, so a lot of times we'll get, no, I'm not interested. But they're still in this likely artificial intelligence audience. Just because, no, I'm not interested at this moment doesn't mean that in 1 week from now, or that they weren't thinking about doing something, they're still on the fence. Maybe they're just grumpy pants kind of people. Maybe they need a little bit more time to go ahead and get to know you, which psychology and marketing in every different industry. And think about your own personal purchasing habits. If I came right to you and said, hey, come on over here and you got to buy this, you're not going to come straight over and buy this. You're going to need to go ahead and do some research. You're going to go ahead and check reviews. You're going to go ahead and figure out whether or not that person is relevant for a service or that product is relevant compared to its competitors. Okay. So you need to go ahead and put multiple touch points on these people. With text, you can go right out of the gate at a fresh, likely audience, and you can find people who are ready now to have a conversation, interested in finding out an offer. You're going to find those people. Okay. But you also need to be constantly thinking about, how do I gain permission, or how do I control those people into my online infrastructure so now I can continue to drip on them with all my paid advertising and everything else consistently. All right. If you just stop at, oh, there goes postcard. That's all. It's all the good you're ever going to be is just that postcard, that one touch point where most people throw in the trash. So here's what we do. How do you take an audience with a text message and bring them over into a world of online infrastructure? This is what we love to do all the time. We go find the people that are ready now that want to talk. But if they say, no, we're not interested, one of our follow-ups is, thank you so very much for getting back in touch with me. Have a blessed rest of your day. Here is a link to our website. If you want to find out more information about us, put a name with a face, or ever need us in the future. But what did we do? We closed the conversation out. We sent blessings towards them and their family, and we left the door open. Now, psychology. For all of you morning Facebook users, a cup of coffee and sitting on the toilet. All right. All of us marketers know that those are the moments of times where people go ahead and like to check their social. All right. Those are the quiet moments. In one moment of weakness, on the weekend, on Saturday, you're going to say, who was that person that was texting me on Thursday? And if you go ahead and click the link to that through your device, now you're back at one of my websites. Now we run cross-device matching scripts, so every other device that you're associated with becomes susceptible. And if you have any type of advertising set up, now when you go to ESPN, all of the major news, if you're in an app, or if you have 15, 30-second commercials set up and we grab your smart television out of your house, and now when you're watching Nat Geo, HGTV, any of that stuff streaming on one of your smart televisions, now all of a sudden there's 15, 30-second commercials of you and your business. It's being done to you right now by other businesses. So
Dick, what you're saying to me right now, if I'm understanding what you're saying, is that with a text message, you attach to the smart device. The smart device will then, pair to the other devices in the household that they're going to be living in. Then you can push different messages out on different methods. So a postcard is prehistoric in regards to the fact that you can now sit on Hulu. You can sit on Facebook. You can sit on Instagram. You can sit on Pinterest. You can sit on any digital device, and it's a living business card and postcard. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love using postcards too. Don't get me wrong. So we built one of the most advanced API integrations into Postcard Mania, and I can literally, with 2 clicks of a button, postcard one person or thousands of people right out of the system. Grab the likely list, click, click, boom, out the door. Right. And we have text back code confirmations. We have cloud CMA integrations. We've got cool stuff to where people can text a code off that postcard to check their home's value, and we're instantly texting them back a PDF link to go ahead and have a CMA report.
But this is so important though, because we don't want to diss our postcards. Like, the postcard is not obsolete. It's just
no. So what I'm saying is,
tool.
Right, Kim, what I'm saying is all of this information, what Mr. McDaniel at Likely has done is given you an opportunity to be able to take and focus your marketing initiatives towards those folks that are more predictive, right? Most likely to go and sell in the next 90 days. Now think about the psychology of every single seller that you guys have ever come across. I mean, seriously, they might be doing some searching online. They might go ahead and get wrapped up into this predictive audience that says, hey guys, they're doing something that it gives us an indicator that something's going on here. The whole goal and objective is to go ahead and take a likely audience and to build a relationship, establish brand, and start communication with these people. If you go into expecting, and if your expectations are all the way up here on like, oh, these people are supposed to be my sellers right now, you're thinking about it wrong. You have to change the way that you're looking at things, and things look at change. Your goal should be to establish rapport, brand identity, build that pipeline, stay consistent, and constantly communicate with those people and have core systems to go ahead and do it.
So what would you say? Because this is something that is super important, right? Like, just because we've delivered you a lead in your August prediction set and they've said that they're not interested does not mean that they're not going to sell. In fact, it's usually the opposite. What can we do? What can Agent A do from the first set of contact where he's inserted himself into their life until the point that they sell, whether that's in 90 to 180 days, because that's how long we'll keep our predictions valid for.
Sure.
Is there a nurture schedule that they should be on? I'm going to assume yes, with multi-touches from multiple different marketing channels. What does that look like? And how do you even begin to organize that for yourself and your business?
Yeah.
So Jake, let me take this on the marketing side, on the agent side, then let you take it on the marketing side. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the number one thing is you got to establish a relationship with these individuals. You reach out to them, say, hi, hey Kim, my name is Greg. I'm with ABC Real Estate with blah 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 here in the area. The number one thing is I understand that people are making moves, and I was wondering if that might be something you'd be interested in doing if I can get you the highest and best price and the best terms. Have you thought about making a move? And so you start that conversation. As soon as that conversation and that relationship starts, you go directly over, and with their contact information, you go directly over to Jake over at Clever. And then Jake, where would you take it from there? So I've made the relationship. We all like each other. It's like our first date, right? Now it's going to go over to you. If you guys can't see it, Kim's brushing her hair like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. But and then Jake takes it on. And how would you go to the second, third, fourth, fifth date, marriage, the whole thing? How would you work that out?
Hey, real estate agents, how many times have you heard that consumable content that's created and disseminated to the people is important for your business? To be an educational ambassador of your craft, to be a brand high aware person in your local area, to be an ambassador of your local area, to get down into the weeds on newsworthy, pressworthy, hyper local information and stuff like that, so that you can carry your brand with that kind of consumable content to the marketplace. How many pieces of content are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So you need to look inward. So every single one of those pieces of content is a vessel that goes in and carries your brand out to these people. So when you're actually nurturing an audience on social, on one of the social channels, or in your pre-built email list, or if you're advertising to new audiences, utilizing social, utilizing geofencing, or if you're directing people back to your website, you want to have consumable content there. That's food to eat at a restaurant. If somebody comes to your website and there's nothing to consume, they are gone. Okay, so relationships are built directly and indirectly based upon who you are as a person, the knowledge that you're sharing, you being a local ambassador and getting out and getting after it. And think about every single one of those pieces as a vessel to carry your brand forward. It resonates with a tremendous amount of people. The more eyeballs on it, the more brand aware you are, and that's important. So relationships are built like that in real estate, and you want to go ahead and have control of these audiences so that you can continue to drip on this kind of content information utilizing email or postcard. I love producing postcards with consumable content, not just, hey, thinking about selling your home. I like to take content, rich, local, hyper-local information, kick it out on a postcard, right?
Like what? What would be an example?
New construction in certain areas, park openings, detours, even follow-up postcards saying it was nice chatting with you via text the other day. As a follow-up, another touch point.
So more than
Jake's
just selling. Here's my face. Here's my brand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over you. My apologies, Kim.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I was just saying, so something that's more than here's my face, here's my brand, as we've talked about, just seeing your face is automatically something that people feel invasive or is a turnoff because it's just like an uninvited sales pitch. But a postcard that is offering some kind of beneficial information separate from, please let me sell your house.
So one of the things that I'm working on with, I have a hound dogger who's napping somewhere without me, which is weird. But one of the things that I'm working on with him, and Jake has, he has his doggos and everything else, is that the people at dog parks are very bonded. I mean, like, bond over stuff. I don't even know most of the people's names. I know the dogs' names.
Yeah.
The thing is like, if you put a postcard out to the local neighborhood, like, hey, this dog park is going to be closed from this time to this time. If you guys want to meet up and do like a dog party at this other dog park, on these different days, I'd be love to hosting it. By the way, the local brewery or the local, restaurant or something else is going to be hosting some drinks or something on Friday night. Come on over. It's a free thing. It's very simple, but very complicated at the exact same time. But yeah, that's something that I think a lot of folks could resonate with in regards to just getting out there and just talking to the people around them. That's the biggest problem we have is communication. COVID, at the time of this recording, folks are literally afraid of each other. So let's do it via text. Okay, cool. Let's set up a place where you can go out there and connect with folks. It doesn't have to be a dog park. That's just my example. But just do something that resonates with you. It could be a hair salon. Maybe your hair, you're into hair and you want to give people free haircuts. Maybe it's a bar and you want to test that new beer and you're a brewery. You want to get people tester shots and say, hey, what do you think about this sour beer? Which, by the way, I freaking hate sour beers. But you know what? I would go down there and I just hang out because it's a local community thing. It's bringing people together. That's the number one thing you want to do with every marketing piece you want to do. Jake, would you agree with that?
All content is good content in my mind. Literally, exactly. You have to produce something and get it moving in the right way. So all of you folks out there think, oh, I've got to create some content, and then you end up shooting a little video and maybe flipping it out on Facebook. Historically, what's happened, ladies and gentlemen, is there is a right way and a wrong way to go ahead and do content in an omni-channel way. Okay, most people are not doing it right. I'm talking 99% of you are not doing it right. You will share that video onto Facebook, but you've already failed yourself. That video needs to be professionally produced, put onto YouTube, done right, brought over to your website, hosted on your website, then shared onto all social. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Then that same piece of content needs to come back into your email and blast it out to all of your email folks. That one piece of content. Written content, same way. Written piece of content. These are 4 paragraphs on home fire safety tips right now because it's fire season, right, in your area, and updates on the local fire or whatever that's going on, right? That information comes over to your blog section on your website, gets wrapped with some of your brand kit, beautiful graphics, or any type of B-roll type video that has different elements that support the contextual information, then shared out onto Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all these different social places, Google My Business, and then brought down into an email and then blasted out. We haven't even talked about advertising yet. Okay?
No, and we can't though, because we're only speaking about texting today, right?
But it's important. It's important to understand, like, all of this stuff is interlinked. And if you just are the kind of person that says, oh, I sent out some text messages and a whole bunch of people told me no, and you turn around and leave, you're doing a really good job for your competition.
That's what I was going to say. What I'm getting from everything that you're saying is, like, you have to build out something for people to draw from. You can't just shoot out a call, a postcard, a text message if there's nothing for them to then go to and glean information from. So you have to make sure all of this is built out and ready, I would say, before you send out any kind of communication. Yeah.
You got to think of your ecosystem, right? Your whole world really should be your website, and your website should be very content rich. It should talk about who you are, any unique selling proposition offers that you're willing to give to your prospective customers, information on stuff that's relative to your industry and also your local area, so that you can amplify your personal brand to anybody that sees all of this consumable content. So once it's there, think of it like the food at the restaurant, okay? You need to make sure before you invite 1,000 people over to the restaurant that you have food to serve them. If you start texting, advertising, and anything else before you have a legitimate consumable place for them to eat your food, you're just already shooting yourself down. You're going to get lucky, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to find somebody right now that last night was thinking about selling, and you were just the lucky person that walked through the door. However, with a data set like Likely, and that's what we're talking about right now, it's super powerful. It's already been pre-marinated. It is intentful. It is predictive analytics. You have it, your competition doesn't. So change the way that you look at this thing. Go into it as, I need to establish rapport with as many people on this list as possible. And after I establish rapport, I'm going to consistently put out consumable content and educational information so that they can go ahead and get more comfortable with me and my brand, and expect that in 60 days, they've seen enough relative information that supports who you are to go ahead and trust like you, and then come over and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pick you instead of somebody else. Look, here's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. There are a whole bunch of new generation folks that are younger that are getting into real estate, and they are very good at it on social media. Okay. They're always flipping stuff out on social. They look at people that are in higher year generations as, well, I can do this a hell of a lot better than them. And guess what? Their tenaciousness of sharing content and getting social is going to go ahead and win them the gold medal in the end, most of the time, over the people that are resting on their laurels, on their referral networks, not creating content, not being engaged in your business. And that's what this is, guys. This is a business. So you just have to consistently go at it and put all of these things to work. But we love Likely, 100% love Likely. If you don't want your Likely data, send it over to Mr. Wolf. I'll gladly take it. You just have to be able to use data properly. Any type of data.
Yeah.
Any type of relationship in real estate. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. So some
of you are
going to fail.
Yeah, I will say at the end of every month before we send out predictions, there's a massive progress report that comes to me. And I go through and I audit every single county that we have licensing in, and we're looking for bugs, errors, something that we're going to catch before we send the deliveries out. And since I started working here, I have never, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on the payroll, but I have never, ever seen a county that is underperforming or isn't performing. Most of the time when I check the monthly progress reports, if I have a county that has 2,500 to 5,000 predictions, I have at least 2,250 listings that listed in the last month. Now, how many of those were our clients who were using that data? That's a very good question, but it's working. And that's not because I'm amazing, though I'd like to think so. It's because our model is working. So if the data is there and it's working and you're not seeing those conversion rates, I love you all to death and you know that I do, but let's take a look at what you're doing or not doing and see if we can improve it, because you are investing in this data. I do want to see you succeed. It's super exciting for us when we see that happen. But these are some of the things that you have to take advantage of and you have to invest in order to make this work for you. Otherwise, the phone call or the postcard falls flat. And so that's why I wanted these guys to come in. I knew that they would just take it and give you all of this great advice because, I really do want to see everybody succeed. And this seems to be a blocker for a lot of people. So before we get our last thoughts out, I also do want to mention that, we love Clever and we work with them a lot. And if you are interested in working with them or you decide you want to, definitely let me know. I can give Jake and his team access to your data so you don't even have to touch it. You don't have to log into the portal. You don't even have to look at it. They'll go in and just grab it, and their assistants work with that. We've done this with them for a while now, and the clients that we have that work with them are usually our happy ones. So before we jump off, thank you guys so much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate it. But any last nuggets of wisdom that we want to leave, bullet points, final takeaways?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. It's going to cost money to go and invest in your company.
Of course, Jake has a comment. Of course, yes.
So, if you guys are sending out postcards and you're spending $1,000 or more on a postcard hit, you could go ahead and come over to Clever Leads and have a full-time virtual assistant employee that I went ahead and trained to go ahead and do all of this stuff inside of a system for a whole month. Texting, emailing, calling, and staying tenacious with multiple touch points before you even decide to do advertising. And then if you want to do advertising, now here we go. So you just have to find the right process, the right system and tools. But you're here in the right place, and you're going to have to go ahead and invest money into your business, and it'll grow. And then once you go ahead and obtain more money, invest more money into enhancing your awareness to more people. That's the game here. Don't stop creating content. If you do, you're going to start falling behind.
Beautiful.
Guys, he could not be more right if he tried. I have actually invested a lot of my money into his VAs, virtual assistants. And dude, my girl crushes skulls for me. Like, it's hard to keep up with her. Not a joke. And so create the content. His team can do the editing and everything else. Brad and Likely and Kim over there can create the data for you. If you have any qualms about doing calls, about doing videos or anything else, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Greg McDaniel. I'd be happy to share anything that I'm doing or have done or I'm going to do with you. I can connect you with anybody that I'm working with right now, including Jake Wolf, including Kim, including Brad. But we love you. We appreciate you. And you guys are freaking rock stars. You guys just don't know it yet. So go out there and be the badass selves that you are.
All right. And with that, we're out. It's happy hour time for me. If you need anything, you guys know where to find me, success@likely.ai. If you're interested in working with Jake, or if you want to get in touch with Greg, you can always email me too, and I'll definitely hook you up. Other than that, everybody have a great weekend. Guys, thank you so much. And we'll see y'all later. Bye.